welcome back. I felt like that was hello, welcome to National Trials. That anyway, it's not National Trials, it's the Women in Safety podcast with a bit of a twist today. So my wonderful guest speaker, who you've heard from before, Nicole Turnbull, is joining me today. And Nicole, do you want to tell people intro to your podcast?
Yes, my pod is Under the Rug at Work, and we're shining light on things that are normally swept under the rug. And we are collabing today because we
We
are
are.
collabing in October.
In August, I hope not, because you and I are not ready for that date.
It is August almost.
I know. Oh my gosh. This week is August. Okay. So the reason that we are, I guess, bringing this podcast to life today is for a number of reasons. So Nicole and I met in person at the Women in Safety Awards last year in Sydney, and we had a good time together. Nicole did her, what was it called last year? The Lived Experience Summit.
Yes.
Yes, look at me. That was deep from the trenches of my brain. Um, yeah, you did the Lived Experience Summit, and I really loved your approach to, I guess, bringing things into more tangible to storytelling because I'm a huge advocate and believer in storytelling. So fast forward, we started to have this conversation about what a collaboration could look like as far as supporting one another with the Women in Safety Awards and with the summits that you've been holding. Do you want to tell people a little bit about, I guess, your history with the summit and how you've had a few iterations?
Yes. So this is my third year in hosting an annual summit, and it's also your third year in hosting the annual
Yeah.
awards, which ties in
And we
nicely.
just keep getting like bigger and bolder.
We do.
Like I feel like all both of us have started like in this little online space, like dip the toe in, get a
Yeah.
little bit bigger, and now you and I are just gone big.
Yes. And the first year was the Seven Dark Sides of Work Summit. So I have a model where I shine light on the seven dark sides of work. And what I wanted to do was bring awareness to each of those, but also to the solutions. So I did that in 2022. And then I didn't want to do the same topic or theme each year. And
Mm,
so in 2023, we did the World First Lived Experience Summit and for bullying and sexual harassment. There'd never been any conference or event like it. And we didn't focus on what the issues were. We focused on what the solutions were. And
mm,
what I find is with a lot of these events and activities, awareness is often the big thing, but I think people are aware of the issues.
mm,
And what
mm.
I want to do and what I love collaborating with people about is the solutions to the really tough stuff. So um, the last 2 years have been virtual because virtual's been easy in the way of the world. And with the feedback from the last couple of years, it has just blown my mind as well. So some of it, like we had one particular individual who said, this has helped me more than 2.5 years in therapy. And someone else who has said, I've been in HR for years and this finally gives me hope. And, I'm blown away. This will facilitate systemic change. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to make real change. And when I heard that you were going to have your awards in Brisbane, I knew that was where we needed to
That
be.
was your
And
sign. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, when you said, "Hey, what do you think?" It was an instant yes, right? Like I think from a values perspective and seeing what you've delivered in the past and I think about the individual that said that helped me more than therapy is that's that storytelling approach that you bring to this, and both of us, I don't know if it's because we kind of do the podcast element, but I feel like for both of us, the storytelling part and for me, the awards is just giving voice to some of the stories of these women who have worked so hard in health and safety that, and we've seen it. I just did the podcast episode on imposter syndrome because they're just not prepared to put their hand up and say, hey, this is my story. But I think we learn so, so much from stories. And I think that's what, for me, the Psychosocial Safety Summit that you are bringing to Brisbane, can really deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, you come into Brisbane, great place to be in October. We obviously have made sure that it's in the lead up to, and that the Women in Safety Awards is the last night. Like, hello, 5-piece band on stage. Both of us have our sequins ready. Like, we're excited, right? So talk to me, because I find with a lot of different conferences around Australia, the same kind of people are trotted out to talk about the same topics. You only have to go to a health and safety conference and the same names are popping up, regardless of the topic. And sure, they're subject matter experts, but yours are different. Yours are not people who I've necessarily, to be fair, heard of. But in looking at them, they bring, like, it's a bit of a wow factor for me. What was what was like the key kind of criteria in who you wanted to speak this year?
Yeah, good question and good point too. I don't like to just say who's the big name and who can get me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and while I love those people and I learn a lot
Yep.
from them, um, I look at the challenges that workplaces are having right now. Like I have
Mm.
conversations as you do all the time with people who just don't know how to navigate the really tough stuff. Like it's
Mm.
yes, we have the code of practice for managing psychosocial hazards,
Yeah.
but
But this stuff is messy.
yeah.
And this is what I say in from a health and safety perspective. We traditionally have been really good at navigating working at heights. There is an obvious difference between me being on the ground and me being 2 meters in the air. A crane, like you can rattle all the other ones off. This becomes messy because we're talking about the unseen almost.
Mm. Yeah, and so half of the speakers I have known and worked with, and I know their heart, and I
Yeah.
know
Oh,
their passion,
goosebumps. Yeah.
and I know their reason for being. And some of them I've reached out to and said, "I love your work. You must be here." And
Yeah.
others have reached out to me to say, "I love what you're doing. This is
Mm.
what I'm doing. Can I be a part of it?"
Yeah.
And uh, it really has evolved and has been created with people like yourself. So it's not
Mm.
I went through the list of hazards in the code of practice and went,
Yeah.
okay, how do we
Yeah,
tick
yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah.
off?
Tick. Yeah.
Like they're not the things that workplaces are struggling with. Like I'm talking to mining and construction organizations about how do we manage alcohol? How do we like some of them have a limit. Some of them are too scared to have like in the corporate area,
Oh, yeah.
some are too scared to have a Christmas party, so they're doing things in the daytime.
Mm-mm.
And when you're on site for 2 weeks when you're FIFO, how do you navigate alcohol? You can't like some organizations are saying, look, we have to have a dry policy because it's causing too much harm. And Sarah Connolly actually reached out to me and she said, like, I help manage and navigate and understand the root cause of alcohol and the problems that come with it. And she helps get to that root cause and empower people to understand
Mm.
what the issues are and how to really make change at a personal and executive level.
And I was talking to someone, I'm trying to think who I was having a conversation with. It was last year, and we were talking about, if someone came to you and said, I have I'm depressed,
Mhm.
whatever that looks like for you, we'd wrap them in our arms and say, hey, I'm here for you. But then the stigma that
Mm.
comes with the alcohol piece, and
Yeah.
navigating that in itself is challenging,
Yeah.
because from a culture within Australia, within workplaces, a good Friday afternoon knock off and go to the bar,
Yeah.
then becomes complex when you've got, it might be alcohol issues in the workplace for that particular individual. Anyway, I could go on a
Yeah.
whole tangent on that, but it
Yeah.
is, that's the stuff we're talking about, that it's tough. It's going to be some hard conversations, and it's going to feel a little bit yucky for a little while. But these are the people that you're bringing to the
Yes.
summit to kind of talk us through and give us those tangible things to get to the bottom of what really friggin' matters.
Yes. And we these are all things that are really in the media at the moment. And
Yeah.
as you said, socializing and alcohol, they go together. Alcohol is the only drug that you get questioned as to why you don't take it if you don't take it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
Australian culture. And
Yeah.
yes, Sarah is an expert on that, and an expert in transforming cultures and individuals and supporting with a holistic approach as well. So there's no way that I would even think to try and talk about it myself. So she's incredible, and we've got,
Yeah, I was just going to say the one, you've got Stephanie Costi
yeah,
coming, talking about navigating domestic violence at work.
yeah,
Again, it that actually breaks my heart to see what is happening in our country at the moment when it comes to domestic and family violence. And please, by all means, if this episode does trigger anything in you, because we are talking about some of the hard things, please make sure that you're all reaching out to the right people. But I know for me, with a brand like Women in Safety, one of the things I did early on was I did some training with White Ribbon and
hmm
became an ambassador, because it was like, oh, you must help women in these circumstances that need to get to a safe place. And I'm like, I don't, but geez, if people are coming to me for that, I want to make sure that I'm equipped to kind of at least answer some questions or know where to point them.
yeah.
So I'm really excited to certainly hear her talk about how we start. I know we've changed some policies and things like that, but again, this
Mm,
goes beyond what that policy change is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and organizations are thinking, and they're saying to me behind closed doors, do we need to get a certificate? Like, how do we, with sick
What do
leave,
I
we've
ask
got
for?
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about just having that conversation, that open conversation to say, look, we need to understand the reason why they're asking for the leave. It's not to have a day off. Often it's to
Mm.
go to the police, or it could be to find another place to live, or it could be, medical appointments. It could be so many things. So we need to look at it differently. And that's what's so challenging, is that psychosocial hazards aren't just a check box
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
code of
Yeah.
practice or a list, a checklist. These all these intricate issues. And
Mm.
like, what I'm going to be talking about is gender and generational differences, because
Yeah.
again, behind closed doors, HR and work health and safety professionals are just going, what do I do here?
Yeah.
This is something I've never had to even think about managing. And we've got all generations in the workplace. We now have gender differences. And where do we even start? Like,
Mm.
yeah, so I want to be able to have the strategies, the tools, the options, the discussion, because I find with a lot of these really tricky things, people shut them down.
Yeah. Oh,
That's too
100%.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't go there, so we're not.
But it'll be interesting, I think, to hear. So you've got Dr. Helen Lawson Wilson
Yes.
coming, Williams rather, and her thing is around putting the brakes on burnout. And I think with all of the quiet quitting that's been going on, that tangible kind of, okay, let's not get our people to burn out, or what does it look like? Or yeah,
Yeah.
like rather than this kind of quiet quit that we know is kind of going on. So there's
Yeah.
that one. Obviously, Dr. Donna Stemmer, Work Right 23, she's got an incredible story to tell, to
Mm.
share. And that, like, you've just gone, doctor this, doctor that. I
I
feel
know.
I feel a bit
Me too.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
I
know.
need to get a doctorate.
Yeah, I need a
Listen,
doctor,
we
but
need
maybe
to
I
listen
should
to your
become qualified to become a doctor. Yeah.
we need to listen to your imposter syndrome podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's not imposter syndrome, is it? I
It's
don't know.
inadequacies, right? Like, where's
Yeah.
my doctorate? Should I have one?
Yeah, like shit. Um, yes. Yeah. No, I'm really excited. And so how do you see kind of the day? Well, it's over 2 days. You've picked a stunning venue, if I do
Mhm,
say so myself, because I did mention how beautiful Victoria Park is. If you haven't
mhm.
been to Victoria Park, um, it is just a stunning venue that overlooks the city, so what a better place to learn. What can people expect, I guess, from that learning experience? What are you hoping that they walk away knowing, feeling like what does success look like for you in the 2024 summit?
Yeah, great question. It looks like people walking out being inspired, but with a toolkit to
Mm,
say, oh, I know what to do in these situations now. I can
yeah.
do it myself. I've got these options that I can have courageous conversations, that I can understand more what people are experiencing. I understand the topic. I understand the struggle. I understand the next steps. I understand how this can help my
Mm,
business and how it can change the struggle I'm having through to the solutions that we can collaborate and work with when I get back into the workplace. So, um, if you know me, you know that things aren't small and that this is going to be an experience. So,
mm.
it's not going to be an event. It's not going to be a conference where you sit down and you just, only talk to the people that are at your table. There are,
Take
um,
me out of, I know I talk to a lot of people, but just let me sit and be quiet and learn. Don't make me interact with people. For those listening that gives them hives, you'll be in the right room.
look, and there's not going to be any, role plays or any, group activities or anything like that. But what I mean is there's going to be dedicated time. Like we've got an hour and a half,
Yeah.
Wednesday the 16th in the afternoon for real networking. So you don't have
Yeah,
to rush off.
not the BS type either, right?
Yeah,
Because you and I hate that. Like, I can't
yeah,
be bothered, like, collecting business cards and doing
no,
the hard sell. This is about, and this is what I love. Like, you and I are just so aligned, which is like, can I say, we need to put our little caveat up. Nicole and I literally have not we we tried to work out what we would talk about, and I was like, I'm just going to press record because I feel like you and I will just talk. So
yeah,
none of this is scripted. But one of the things that I wanted to, I guess, call out is you and I are very, I guess, aligned when it comes to that networking. And you are a member of the Women in Safety community, and you often show up at member mingles, and your view on networking is absolutely about sharing what you know, who you know, and just broadening and being open to ideas and inspired by someone else and what they're doing. To me, that's what good networking looks like. So
yeah,
that I'm excited for that part, because I think, in networking can have such a really negative connotation. It's like you've got to stand there and be like, I'm such and such, and I work at this job, and I'm really important. Like, oh man, like I don't give a shit what your title is. We're here to
yeah.
have a genuine conversation and go, look, our stories aren't quite aligned right now, but I'm really inspired by what you're doing. Thanks for sharing that with me, and move on. Like, let's just
Yeah,
bring to life people and what they're doing, because there's so much, as we said, storytelling. Like, we need to change it.
exactly.
Let's not do networking. Let's do storytelling.
Well, the people who are coming, right? They're executives, they're leaders, they're work health and safety, they're HR professionals.
Yeah.
They are people who are keen to learn, who are keen to understand and network. Sorry, I don't know, I understand a better word than network with people who are just as passionate about
Yeah.
psychological safety and
Yeah.
learning as
Yeah,
they
but
are.
that's what I mean. Like, there
Yeah,
has to be the passion piece behind it, right?
yes,
They're not showing up on the view to get the business card, or, these are
yeah,
people who actually have a vested interest in it, that are.
yes,
Anyway, the next point that I want to raise, because I actually am both of us have had multiple conversations about this, and it genuinely, they say never talk about money, but I think it has to come up.
yeah,
You came to me and you were like, I can deliver this for X price. Do you think I should do it at this price? And I was like, that's really cheap.
yeah,
And you're like, yeah, but this is not about filling the pockets of some, corporate
mm,
organization. This is Nicole, who has her chickens and her farm, and she just gives a shit about making this stuff
yeah.
realistic. So a delegate price for 2 days is 1,299. I'm I'm sorry, but a 2-day conference that gives this much insight,
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, but that's bloody cheap. Like, and
I
I
know.
know, I brought you on this podcast and people will go like, oh yeah, it's a hard sell. It's not a hard sell. It's about going, you came to me and were like, I just can't justify putting the price up anymore. You're like, I can deliver it for this. We've
Yeah.
both got bills to pay when it comes to the Women in Safety Awards and for this event. There
Mm,
are costs that we can't get around,
yeah.
but we will continue to keep those costs bearable for employers or individuals
Mm,
because we don't think that money should absolutely limit you getting that experience and that knowledge and meeting those people who care.
yeah.
And I just want to say tip of the cap to you because you are delivering something that goes over and above at a price that is under and below.
Yeah.
There's your
And
catchphrase for the week. Like I'm over and above with my numbers below it anyway.
I know,
I'll
and the
I'll tag it.
food the food is going to be incredible. It also
Mm,
comes with incredible
I'm
photography
hungry.
that the delegates and the speakers will be able to use. Like
Yeah,
Jade is an incredible photographer and it's accessible for everyone. So
yeah,
there will be amazing, photography and support. And yeah, I just can't, like, I could double the price. I could triple the price and it be in line with things that are out there. But
absolutely.
yeah,
But
it is
again, let's
me.
make it accessible. Yeah, yeah, I know
Exactly.
but that like, and that's why I wanted to bring it up because I
Yeah.
want people to know that this is not, I don't know, it's easy to jump on and we could have had a very scripted conversation about get your tickets and, look at all of these speakers. But I think what people need to hear is the passion that sits beside both of us in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
And one thing I want to mention as well is the digital platform. So
Yeah,
what I'm doing differently, because I love to do
this
things
is again over and above, like
but I
overachiever.
I've managed and run these events and
Yeah.
awards in the past, right? And I also come from it from a user experience. I've gone to these events and experience
Mm,
and event and conferences and just gone, this is missing, or this, like for example, the World Congress. We went there, we spoke, we missed connecting with so many people because we just didn't know they were there.
yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So everyone who is a delegate and a speaker and a partner, they get access to a digital platform. So it's not just buy your ticket and we'll see you there. You're able to meet the speakers before you arrive. And there's YouTube videos where you can connect with people and understand who they are, what they're going to be chatting about. You can see that on YouTube, but it goes to a different level in the digital platform. We also have behind the scenes sneak peeks.
Insane.
And then there's the opportunity, which I'm just about to open up as well, to introduce yourself and
Mm,
say, this is who I am. This is what I want to hear about. This is what I'm excited about. I'd love to network or meet with XYZ people. And then people can go in there and say, oh, I want to make sure that I connect with that person and from that
mm,
organization. Like, when it comes to networking, you might just want to meet, one individual from an organization that you've been meaning to connect with, or you
mm.
might have a list of people that you're super excited about connecting with as well. But
But it's
yeah,
about, I think it's about that, like genuine connected time.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's what that's doing. It's like you can see it kind of before you go, you're kind of more going, like you're not walking in blind, going, I don't really know what to get out of it. You're
yeah,
you're you're walking in almost informed and more ready to take that on because you're like, right, here's what I know I've got to do as far as, it might be different connections or whatnot. And here's what I know I'm going to learn. So I'm going to make sure that from a mindset perspective, I'm going to pick this, this, this. So
yeah.
that's what I think is really cool about it.
Yeah, and often like you meet the speakers, they're absolutely incredible, but you don't get to really hear a bit about their background, where they came from, why they started their business.
Mm,
And
mm.
that kind of stuff is missing. And that's what I really wanted to bring to it, to say, to have that feeling like, gosh, I know Alanna already. I know Blady, like I know
Yeah,
Fiona, I know Sean, and
yeah,
I know where their heart is and why they're
mm,
part of this.
yeah,
And Yeah, like you need to know these people before you arrive.
But I think also, like, when we think about the psychosocial safety, right? I feel like what you're achieving by doing that is almost setting, delegates, participants up for success. Because
Yeah.
I know, like, I wouldn't say I'm the most socially anxious person by all means, right? Like, geez, like, let me in a room, let me in a pub, like, let's go. I'll talk to anyone. But if I was attending something like this, I would normally be like, "Oh god, 1, I don't know who's gonna be there. I don't really know the speakers.
Mhm.
I don't know what to expect." Like, it's
Yeah.
all a little bit overwhelming. And from a psychosocial safety perspective, like, all my little things are pinging off at me. Like, I would just be like, "Okay, I'm just gonna walk in. I'm gonna put my bag down. I'm gonna get my name. Like, I just wanna sit because." And then it's like you look around the room, it's like, "Who do you know?" Like, "I don't know any of these people." Like, that feels really intimidating.
Yeah.
You've set us up for success to not feel that or not feel so isolated that we can already connect with the people that are going. Like, I don't know. I think that's really cool. Again,
Yeah.
over and above. Well done.
I can't help myself.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and look, I think it's been so good to bring this conversation to life and to just show people, the little bit of the backstory about it and
Mm.
why I guess we've chosen to kind of collaborate. And by all means, we will be looking to do it again because I think it's been such a nice process for us both.
Yeah.
Um, Even just from the support perspective to go, what are you doing? How's that? Like, to bounce these ideas because we don't have the teams behind us. It's just us.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been really cool to kind of bring it together and bring it to life,
Yeah.
alongside you and be like, "How are you going?" Yeah.
Yes, and there's incredible breaks for lunch and morning tea. We're doing the breakout. We don't do any breakouts actually, but we're breaking up earlier so that we can have that real networking opportunity on the Wednesday, and also we'll knock off at 4 o'clock on the Thursday. So if people need to get flights or if they need to get ready for the Women in Safety Awards, they've got time to do
Yeah,
that as
buddy.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like there's these incredible speakers and partners that are involved in the summit. I'm so grateful for you and for them.
Mm.
But it's such an opportunity to be able to learn, as you say, with the summit and then celebrate with the
Oh,
awards
absolutely.
afterwards.
Yeah.
So having the two together just completely makes sense. And, we'll have some come to both or some come to one or the other, but it's just
Yeah,
such a
absolutely.
great opportunity.
Yeah,
And I'm so looking forward to the awards and
I
seeing
know.
the incredible women that are there.
I
But I
know.
wanted to ask you too, like, what was the reason that you started the awards 3 years ago? And
Yeah, look, and it was a real dip in the like, dip my toe in the water moment, right? Because I was like, I really feel like there was this, and 3 years ago, you think 2021, it was still COVID times, and I was like, I just feel like I can deliver more.
Mm,
And I'm always looking at different ways to support our members in their learning and those opportunities. And so I thought, "Oh, I'll do this online bit of summit." I don't even know what I call it. My brain doesn't retain information like it did. Um, but I was like, "Oh, I'll do this summit." And then I was like, "Oh, what if I just kind of tapped on these awards at the end?" And let me tell you, it was messy, right? Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I haven't run an awards program before, let alone an online summit. Like, she was rough. But I knew that I wanted to do it because, the stories that I consistently hear, and again, I refer back, a couple of episodes that I talked about imposter syndrome. Women are just not the first to put their hand up and give themselves a pat on the back.
mm,
And in health and safety, and I know, in the women in safety space, it can be thankless at times. You just feel like you're on the merry-go-round. It's not exciting. It feels like a little bit of the same old. But I feel like a lot of the women in safety members from that, and again, this is like the connection that you and I had, it comes from the heart. Like we're so passionate about what we deliver. Um, we're not doing it for the big accolades. We're not doing it for the big money. We do it because we genuinely want to make a difference. And for me, the women in safety community and seeing what they're all achieving, despite everything else that they're battling, absolutely should be celebrated. And, so the first year that was great. Then the following year, the organizers of the World Congress run and said, "Oh, you'd be crazy not to do a side event." And I was like, that was not on my radar this year, team. Like, I did not have, like, I was happy to keep my little toes just in the online little, like, let me stay my paddling pool. But they were like, "No, here's the ocean, learn to swim real quick." So I was like, sure, I can deliver that alongside the World Congress, and said we'll do a bit of an in-person, but due to timings, we could only do it in the day. Now, I always kind of envisaged if I was going to do an in-person event, she was going to be glitz and glam. Like, who doesn't love a good night out, right? So we did the one last year, and I think there is not a moment in my career that I won't reflect on. The first award was Professional of the Year, and when this lady's name was called out as the winner, seeing that the women that she'd brought, one was her sister, a couple were her senior leaders, wrap their arms around her. I was standing off to the stage, and so I was looking out to the audience. One, the amount of support that the other women in the room gave her, but two, seeing her face. Like, I have goosebumps now because this, and she said to me, "It's the first time I've ever won anything in my entire life." And I was like, well, like, how magical that I can make these people feel celebrated and cheered for and recognized. Like, I literally am covered in goosebumps because there is just nothing more, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, if I think about what legacy I leave, the day I leave this world, knowing that women got to be celebrated, like, absolutely. Like, that chokes me up because,
Yeah.
yeah, like, it just, yeah, I will continue to do it for as long as I can and as long as I've got incredible sponsors backing it to make it financially viable. And they came on board, instant, right? Like, they're like, "Hell yeah, what an important topic," yeah. So anyway, I could talk about it for days because it just it's a warm and fuzzy. It's a very big warm and fuzzy. And you and I are both cold today, so I needed the warm and fuzzy. Thanks.
It was such a great event, and it was so great to connect with incredible women as well. Like, just to
Yeah,
look around the room and the connections that I met on the day,
I
like I'm still
know.
collaborating with some of them
I
and
know,
able to meet,
absolutely.
yeah, the
Yeah,
empowered members face to face. Like, I got to
yeah,
meet some of them
I
there
know.
and then more of them this year.
I
Like, I
I
just,
know, I know. There are so many that are already flying up for the summit and for the Women in Safety Awards. We've got a big Perth cohort that are looking to come out. Yeah, I think it's been amazing to watch this community that is just absolutely one, they're backing you, but they're also backing, the awards and the celebration and the recognition that comes with that. So I reckon we're like, you and I are both, we're not burnt out, but both like we've just operated at such a level of excitement because we're so excited for it that we're like, whoa, we need to cool our jets.
yeah. I've
Uh,
been excited since February, since we started really delving into creating what it is.
Oh,
And
mate, I flew home from Sydney from the last one, absolutely exhausted, but I was like,
yeah,
right, like, you best believe that I was like Cloudland because I went to an event there and I was just blown away at the level of
mm,
like wow factor it had. Obviously I'm in Brisbane and I have a small family, so travel, I did way too much travel last year, so I was like, I need to just reduce some of that. So this was a way of doing that. And yeah, as I said, Cloudland, stunning venue. So I knew that I had to bring it to life. It financially, I was like, "Oh god, should I do this?" But I was like, "Absolutely." So the sequence of purchase, Nicole and I are ready. We're ready for the summit. We're ready for the awards. So how can people find out, I guess, a little bit more about the summit if they want to book a ticket, all of those things?
yeah, so all of the speakers, you can find out more and purchase your tickets on the website, which is just neonshed.com.au/psych summit.
Yep.
And
We'll put it in the show notes between the two
yeah,
of us. Yeah.
yes. And also the Women in Safety Awards is on there as well. So if you're interested for
Yes.
those, that'll go straight to
Great, easy. Thanks, you did my job. But yeah, we'll put links in the show notes for that one. But look, I am so thrilled that, yeah, the collaboration has come to life. And as I said, this was not by any means a scripted conversation, just two people who wanted to showcase that this, for both of us, what we're trying to achieve comes from an absolute place of connection and sharing and storytelling. And I hope that you can all come and support and be a part of the journey, because I feel like between the two of us, this is only the third year in, and what we've created to date, like, look out. We will
Already
continue.
talking.
We will
Yeah.
continue. Yeah.
We're already talking about 2025.
Yeah. She was like, what about November next year? And I'm like, girl, we're just gonna get through. Like, we're not even in August this year. Like, can you cool? Like, whoa.
Look, what I will say is it will be different next year. So if you're thinking
Again.
maybe I should wait until 2025, don't, because it will never look like this again.
Yeah.
It might be pertinent to share as well. It's on the 16th and 17th of October, and yours is on the 17th
Yeah.
in the
17th. Yeah.
afternoon.
I hope so.
And Victoria Park and Cloudland are only 10 minutes away from each
Yeah.
other. So we've made
Yeah.
them
With
super close
lots of
to
accommodation nearby. If you
yeah.
book your flights now, it'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fab.
Yeah. So thank you for having me on. Thank you for co-collaborating with
I
me.
know. We were like,
Pods.
we'd be crazy not to just share it on both of our podcasts. So we're
Definitely.
super excited. And I hope both our audiences heard, I guess, the passion and the story that sits behind why we do what we do. And I think we'll just continue to do what we do and do it well, because it comes from that place of true value and dedication to making the world a better place.
Yes.
Because why not?
And we can't wait to meet you.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. Way too excited. All right. We'll tone down our excitement. Have a great day, and we look forward to you on the next episode, and we'll chat soon.